All right. Welcome, everyone. It is Monday night at 7 o'clock in Phoenix time, wherever you are. So we are, of course, here together for Insights with Alicia, my very, very, very favorite time of the week. Thank you so much for joining, all of you that do. And we're already in season 2 of Insights with Alicia, right? Do you remember last spring, I guess, when I started, spring, summer? The universe was like, look, we're going to do like 4 weeks of this. And I was like, oh, okay. All right, we'll do 4 weeks. And the 4 weeks were up and I wanted to keep going. And I absolutely love this. And I love that you all join me. However that happens to be that you catch this. So every week we gather, right, to learn and connect. And I often say things and people want to know more. They love the insight from the scientific psychic. There are so many things that I've experienced in my life and that have transformed my life that I love sharing these insights to help everyone, not just my clients. So we talk about relationships, our behavior, life skills that will literally change your life, and tools and ideas to support those changes we want to make. And let's not forget about the animals. I talk about them too. For those of you who don't know, I'm Alicia Sweezer, owner of Who Knew Healing, intuitive life coach, intuitive mentor, animal consultant, and communicator, psychic medium. And I provide healing and growth opportunities for people and animals. Lots of things. And for those of you listening as a podcast, which is now on even more platforms, right? I had it on Spotify and Apple. Now it's on Google, iHeartRadio, Amazon, and like 5 other podcast platforms that I can't remember the names of at this moment, but are still super important. So thank you for joining if you are listening as a podcast. And as always, if you want the video version, please visit the YouTube channel under Alicia Sweezer, or better yet, join us live on Monday night. I would love to have you. And those of you watching on Facebook, if you'd like to comment, please join by the Zoom link because I can't see your Facebook comments right now. I got to get more monitors and all that good stuff. So thank you for joining, everyone. It's Monday night. I have some pretty cool announcements tonight that I'm super excited about. So starting today and running through this Sunday, the 29th, I am doing a drawing for a free private 1-hour virtual session with me, yours truly. So if you sign up for my email list on my website, whoknewhealing.com, that's new with a K, so whoknewhealing.com, you will be entered into a drawing to win a session with me. Don't forget to confirm your email address. You know how the software is. If you don't confirm it, it doesn't make it all the way through the system. So check your spam and your junk folders. But yes, I'm super excited. So this session can be used for intuitive life coaching. It can be used for spirituality coaching, animal communication. So if you got something going on with your pet and you want to discuss it, traditional psychic readings, and mediumship. The 2 things that it cannot be used for are Access Consciousness Bar and Access Consciousness Facelift, because those are hands-on techniques, procedures, and this is a virtual session that I am gifting. So sign up this week. You will be entered. I'm trying to think what else. Session cannot be transferred, must be used by the end of March, because I want to get you in. I want to get your questions answered, see what we can change. And as a massive thank you to the people who are already on my email list, thank you so much for your support. You guys are always there. I am doing a separate drawing for you as well. So there's 2 drawings total. One for the people who are already on my list is a thank you, because I hate when I have been a member of something and the people only do offers for new people that they want to bring in, and they ignore the people that have been there the whole time supporting them. So yes, 2 drawings, one for the people who are already on my list. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And for all of the people that sign up within the next week, you will be entered also. And thank you to everyone who has shared the post. It's on social media, and I've sent emails and meetups and everywhere that I can think of. So make sure you're typing in your email address correctly, and make sure you're getting that email that says to confirm it, because then I can see your email address and enter you into the drawing. So super, super excited. If you have any questions, please shoot me an email. Let me know. Hopefully I've covered all of the logistics of it. I'm just super excited. I can't wait to see what this creates. And if you're one of those people who worries about like, oh, getting a ton of emails, I am not one of those people. It drives me absolutely nuts. I am not on very many mailing lists because of that. Even with all the business stuff that I do, all of the people that I follow, I'm very on purpose. I don't send a ton of emails. So you usually get a notice like every week, like there's a new blog or there's a new offer or something like that. That is the most, because it's just not a match for me. It makes me crazy. And we have so much going on in this world already. So if that was something where you're like, oh, I'd love to, but I don't want to get a ton of emails, don't worry. I got you. Okay. So what are we going to talk about tonight? Super, super excited about this. Tonight, we are going to talk about how to get clear in manifesting what you want in your life. Like just exactly how do we place our order with the universe? So a long time ago, someone told me that life is like Burger King. You get to have it your way. We just aren't told that. Now, does that mean that every single thing is easy? It shows up in the time frame that we think it should? No. It does, however, show us the way of how we get to manifest the things that we want to have in this lifetime. So where do we start with this, right? One of the first things that I teach people who come to me for relationship challenges, or even people who want to start dating to be in a relationship, is we start with what's called an ideal partner list. And the second list that I've created is called the relationship list, but we'll get to that in a minute. So what is an ideal partner list, you ask? It is the list of attributes you would like in your partner. It is the personality traits, the physical traits, the mental and emotional traits, the lifestyle traits, anything like that. Because if we don't tell the universe what we want, how does it know what to bring us? Right? Here's the thing. We are always, always, always creating, consciously or unconsciously. We are constantly choosing. And if we don't have a target that we are looking towards creating, the only information that the universe has is to bring us what is a match for our energy and vibration. So if you are out there thinking there are no good men left, guess what you're going to keep seeing? No good men, people that aren't a match. If you're thinking even unconsciously that you're not good enough, and I get this is a lot, for people, like this is a big one for everyone. Guess what? You're going to continue to see evidence in many, many ways showing you that you're not good enough. I know it's crazy making. I wish it was different sometimes too, because the truth is it's not always easy to keep our vibration high, right? And this is what I teach in the classes with this stuff, right? About the happiness list. Perfection isn't the objective here. Never, ever, ever. Our overall health, happiness, and satisfaction is what we are looking for, like that. It's what gives us peace and happiness and fulfillment in this life. So we get to make a list and say, this is what I want. Here's my order. This is my guy right here. I want a partner that is X, Y, and Z. And here is a very, very crucial point. Because everybody, when I start them with this, they write their lists in the opposite. And I get it. I used to be this way too. I still catch myself and have to change my language with lots of things. This list and all the lists that we're going to be talking about are written in the affirmative. We are creating a list of what we want, not what we don't want. Because usually what people will be like, oh, I want a partner, I don't want a partner who's cheap. So they'll put that and they'll be like, oh, and when I work with them, I'm like, okay, so what we want actually, because you feel the vibration of that, right? It's like, oh, that's past experiences. That's old relationships. That's your baggage. That's the lower vibration. What we want is a partner who's generous. So you would write, I would like a partner who's generous versus I want a partner who's not cheap. If you want a partner that doesn't cheat, right? You would say, I want a partner that's faithful, loyal, monogamous, whatever your word is, and that. And here's the thing. One of the reasons and the very, very, very cool thing about this process and why I start people here, because underneath it really is the process of getting to know yourself. And that's where every relationship begins. If we don't know ourselves, how can we share that with someone else? We're always functioning from autopilot at that point. So I'm always amazed at the assuming power of humans. We just assume God, the universe, other people know what we want or what we're thinking, and on and on and on. If we don't know what we want, how can anyone else? And believe me, I know there are men out there right now listening to this going, yes, for the love of God, woman, just tell me what you want. And what are women's responses? Well, you should know what I want. Right? I'm cracking up. I have even been guilty of this in the past. Now, are there times that we've given men or our partners the answers to the questions and they just weren't listening? Yes. And am I having some fun with this? Yes. And is it true? Yes. Both things can be true. So for the ideal partner list, to give you guys some more examples of this. So like, you're going to have your core, like I told you, you had your personality, your mental, emotional, this kind of things. You're going to have your core set of things on there. And because my list is pretty long, like I have it on a piece of poster board. And mine's even funny because I have the list in the middle, and then around the edge, I have men, because I date men. But this works for any gender, any category that you fit into. So, and then I have men around the edges that embody those attributes. Some of them are like actors, right? Like roles that I've seen in movies. Others are actual people. One of them on there is, because this is a big thing for me, because I didn't have this in past relationships, is I remember seeing a video of Adam Levine, right? Lead singer of Maroon 5. And he's married to a supermodel, Victoria's Secret model. And he was telling the story of how she was really nervous because she was going to be doing one of the runway shows with those massive angel wings that they wear, right? And those things weigh like 50, 60 pounds. And you've seen the size of the models. They're, a little on the thin side. So it's not much weight difference between the set of angel wings that they're carrying and how much they actually weigh. Plus they're in those big heels. I can't even walk in heels, let alone with wings and in front of people and spinning and all that good stuff. So I get, people make fun of models and all that kind of stuff, but it's like, that would be really hard to do. And so he was sharing the story of how she was like nervous. And then they showed the video clip of him, and she gets to the end of the runway and she nails her turn, and he jumps out of his seat and he is just super excited and he's cheering her on. And he was like, that is my wife. That is the woman that I love. He was so beyond happy for her, right? He was her cheerleader in that moment. And that is one of the things that I appreciate having from the people in my life, because I've always, particularly in romantic partners, like that's the person I always was. And I didn't get that in return, not in a trading way, but also in a, I've created a lot of things in my life. And it's like, that support would have been great. Like, who doesn't love having a cheerleader? I love when I get to cheerlead people. So as I'm saying, like, you have your core things on there, and those are going to be, as you meet people, the reason you have this list is because, right, all the emotions are going, all of the feelings are there, all the hormones are crazy. And so this list gives you a tangible grounding point to go, okay, is this person actually someone who's a match for me? Actually something that I want to be looking at? Like, this is what I have this list for. Put my feet back on the ground, put my hormones in check for a moment. And it really gives us that place to be conscious from, and kind of have the fog clear from our eyes a little bit. And like I said, you'll have your core ones, and then you have your other stuff too that is important. And it may not be where you're going to find someone that fits all, 30 attributes. Like you have like I said, I have my really core ones. I have like musical on there also. That's not one of my core ones, but people who can play, musical instruments, like I think that's amazing. I am not one of those people. And in a guy, I think it's pretty sexy. So like, it's on the list of like, hey, you can, if I meet someone you can throw in a Dash universe of some musicality, that'd be great, because I'd love someone I could at least dance with. But most important are those core things, because people sometimes get particularly my men clients that I work with on this, and they're like, oh, it's superficial when they start to write some of the physical attributes and that sort of thing. I'm like, it's not. Everybody gets to have their preference. We're not body shaming in any way here. We're simply stating what our preference is. Everybody has one. And so there's no shame in it. There's no wrongness in this whatsoever. It's what we prefer. So like I said, you got core part, and then you get to have all your other parts there also. No judgment in these lists, just gives us a place to start from. Okay, so the second list gets created after our ideal partner list. And I call it the relationship list. Because remember, I was talking about how humans have this amazing ability to just assume things. So the question we start with is, what does a relationship look like to you? We assume it's the same for everyone. And I 1000% guarantee you it's not. Most people think a relationship means that you aren't dating anyone else, right? It's exclusivity. And if you haven't checked with the other person, especially these days, you could be tragically wrong and get your heart broken because you assumed. So when I talk about what does a relationship look like for you, I'm talking about everything. Communication style, communication level, lifestyle choices, like how much time you spend together and apart. I have one of those hairs. Social styles, sexual preferences, family choices, spiritual, religious preferences. Because the truth is, getting into a relationship is easy. Anybody can be in a relationship. Super, super easy. Staying in one and having a relationship long-term that is a match is a whole nother thing. So like you see those people that are dating, they're like, oh my gosh, they just fell into this relationship. Yeah, that happens. Because they weren't paying attention. One of my clients, I remember a while ago, he started dating this woman and we had a session and he's like, she's here all the time. And they'd only been seeing each other like 2 weeks. And he was like, because she lived on the other side of town. And he's like, she comes like on Thursday and stays till Sunday. And I said, yeah, that's not working for you. And he's like, no. And I said, he's like, I have stuff that I have to get done. And I said, absolutely. I completely understand that. And I said, so you've fallen into a relationship without actually having the conversation of being in a relationship. And he's like, oh my gosh, I did it. He's like, I have the list. I know better. I'm like, hey, there's no judgment in this. It just is one of those things that happens. So we want to have these conversations because like I said, getting in a relationship is easy. So what can this look like? And another client I had, she was dating a guy who didn't text at all. And this drove her crazy because she was a big texter. She really liked the good morning text. She liked the, during the day, that sort of thing. She felt cared about when she received this type of interaction from him. And because it wasn't how he communicated when he did, it was like really sporadic. So she made this mean, right? Because it's always about what we make it mean, that he didn't care, that he never thought about her, that he was emotionally unavailable, and on and on and on. And none of that was true. It just wasn't a way that he communicated. Now, I get that this seems like a small thing. And for everything that I'm talking about tonight, I'm trying to give some quick and easy examples so that it sort of makes sense and you can grab this information and go with it. And believe it or not, this was actually a big issue for them. And when something isn't a match, it doesn't mean that we write the whole thing off instantly. Like we don't just chuck it to the road. These are those places that we really get to have those amazing opportunities for great conscious conversations. These are the conversations where we really, really get to know someone, to even see if we want to be in a relationship with them. And as humans, remember I said that whole assuming thing, we really put the cart before the horse on this one. We like someone, we decide we're in a relationship with them, we're having sex with them, and then things are not working out and we don't know why. It's because we haven't had these conversations. We decide we want a relationship. Remember, I said anyone can be in one. And then the only time we talk about these things is if we're lucky enough to have them randomly pop up. And a lot of times that ends up in an argument because everything is just running on autopilot and people are getting triggered everywhere and on the roller coaster we go. There's no consciousness to it. There's no directness to it. There's no direction of consciously creating this interaction, this relationship with another person. And honestly, it still blows my mind how people don't talk about whether or not they want to have kids. People, even today, are getting married and have never discussed whether or not they want to have children. I know I sound like I'm judging them here. I'm not. I simply do not understand it. Like I can't even fathom that. Because what happens is then years down the road, because I have clients like this, someone is having kids even though they don't want to have them. And then their partner wonders why they're not an engaged parent. Well, it's because they didn't actually want to have kids. And there's a ton of turmoil that gets created from that. Or now they're having constant arguments because one wants kids and the other doesn't. And neither one knows what to do because they put years into this relationship or marriage. And they're like, well, I don't really want to give it up. I put all this time in. and they're in this middle place of feeling stuck. Does it sound familiar? I get this may not be you, but I bet you've met people like this, people you know that have been in this situation. So this is, like I said, talk about this stuff. I have a whole list of subjects and categories that I give my clients. It's like 2 pages long of like, here are topics to discuss. And they're not like, here's the thing, you're not having these conversations of like oh, we need to talk. These are the fun conversations where you talk about family or spirituality, or like for me, right? Like all the things that I do. My guy, there's sort of 2 camps that they seem to fit in. Is one, they are part of this world also, or they don't know anything about this world and they get to have they give me full space to be me, right? Like that's what we're always looking for in a relationship, is mutuality, unconditional love, or where we're both in allowance of each other, not trying to modify the other person, not trying to fix them, not trying to change them. And so, like these are the things that I talk about, right? These are going to be the conversations I have, like religion versus spirituality, or I talk to dead people and I talk to animals, and I'm also really analytical, right? Like there's that whole logic part. So these are the things that we get to talk about to really get to know that person, to then see if we want to spend time with them in a relationship, because it's so much, for lack of a better word right now, better. Oh, it's not the word I'm looking for, to get to the know faster. Because everybody gets hung up. As humans, we get hung up on time. We're like, oh, but I put 3 months in, and the red flags are popping up and they're like, but I put 3 months in. Like, I don't want to look stupid. I don't want to like waste my time and have to start all over. Like, I get that. So start to have these fun conversations up front. Be playful with them. Be light. They do not have to be heavy, dungeon laden, we need to talk conversations. So that's just have fun with them. Okay. So now that we have the ideal partner list and the relationship list, another one that can help you with both of these is the how do I feel loved, right? So I did a blog, video, podcast a few months ago on this topic, and I invite you to read, watch it, listen to it, because it can help you get clear on not only knowing more about yourself, but also how to communicate that to the people in your life. Because that one really is, it shows you the actions of once you've gathered this information about yourself or your partner, like what does it look like then to put it into action? How do I feel loved? How do I share that love with someone else? And of course, it involves communication. It's really good, I promise. So I invite you to watch that one. It's the how do you feel loved? And here's the thing. I know that this sounds like a lot of work, and it does have the potential to bring up lots of things for us to look at for our growth and our healing. This is the foundational work that I am always talking about. This is the kind of growth that will serve us for the rest of our time here on this planet. And it gives you a stronger, clearer place to create the life, relationship, anything that you are wanting while you're here. Okay, so that's the relationship part. Where else do we get to place our order with the universe? Everywhere, 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 everywhere. So we call this conscious creating, right? Manifesting. I have a list for my inner circle of friends because I am on purpose of who I want to have in my life. And I want those people to be a match and the highest contribution for me and me to them. I also have a list for my ideal client. And the truth is that list is different for every single service that I offer. They do have a core set of attributes, absolutely. And then there are attributes that are specific to each service. I have a list for my business. And I recently spent some time on this list because I realized the relationship I was having with my business wasn't going the way that I wanted it to. And I get that that may be a new concept for some of you where you're like, oh, a relationship with your business. Because we tend to think of relationships only in terms of people. And the truth is a relationship is everywhere, everything that we create. So my business is what we call a life form. It is something that I put my energy into and I've created, and it creates with me. It gives back to me. So there's a relationship there. Pip and I, we have a relationship, right? We have relationships with our animals. for people when you're creating anything. So musicians, right? Their songs are life forms. People who write books, their books are life forms. People who create jewelry or crafts or knit, or I mean, any of those things that I can't do. Those are life forms that they're creating. They are putting their life force energy into them. And so it's this place that it also gives back to us. It's a relationship. And with my business, like I said, I was clinging. I saw I was having some expectations, and who wants to be in a relationship with someone who's got expectations and clings? I don't. So I cleaned that up a little bit. Her and I had some conversations. I worked on my list. I said where I was going to make some changes for myself. And it's been great. So because these behaviors show up in any kind of relationship, like I said, not just between people. And with our animals, this is one of the main things I facilitate my animal clients with, and their humans, is the relationship that they have together. Please, 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 I invite everyone who wants to have an animal in their life to make an ideal animal list. This is going to let you get clear on the type of animal that you want, first of all, right? Dog, cat, chameleon, bird, fish, and then the breed that will fit your lifestyle. There are so many people that don't do this. And I get it. They're cute. You're like, oh my God, I want this one. He's the cutest thing ever. You want to smush their little faces. And might not actually be a match for your lifestyle. So I constantly see people, for example, that pick a dog breed that isn't a match for their lifestyle. And then they're confused why they're having challenges like chewing, digging, separation anxiety, or other behavioral challenges. With dogs, it's usually one of those, things like, if you are gone a lot, or if you have a lifestyle that has a lot of schedule changes, or you don't have a lot of free time, I invite you, don't get one of the dogs that are a working breed. They have a lot of energy. They're supposed to have a lot of energy. There are so many times with our animals that we expect and we project human attributes onto them. And it's like, oh, well, they should be calm. Well, no, you got a Malinois. Like, those are super intelligent working dogs. Like, they have a lot of energy, and you've got to do stuff with them. Or they're border collies, right? They're all beautiful. They're high energy dogs. That's why they're amazing at that agility stuff. That is not going to be the dog that's going to want to lay on the couch with you all day. So if I invite you to really, really look, and there's even cats that are like that. There are breeds that are more energetic and that sort of thing. But really, really pay attention to what your lifestyle is like and what kind of animal will fit into that, because it will save you a ton of problems and money down the road. That is absolutely true. So, and I get it. They're cute. I get it. There's no judgment here. I get it. So, but I would like you to be happy with your animals, and your animals to be happy with you, and less stress down the road. Okay. So, and the other part is that relationships change over time. The relationship with ourselves, our relationship with other people, this world, our animals, our job, our passions. And so we get to keep creating and shifting these lists if it's required, as we grow and get clearer and more conscious. I had this experience last year. I manifested some people that I thought were going to be in some new inner circle friends. Super excited. They had some of the things on my list, and then things didn't work out. And it gave me the opportunity to reevaluate my list and get clear on who it is that I am today and who I want in my life. I didn't realize it at the time, because when I made that next version of the list, it was definitely more conscious than the version before. But it wasn't the version that I ultimately wanted. And so there's someone that wrote in the chat here, and it's like, yes. And some of this stuff, we want to be really specific in our asks. And that's what I did. It provided me the opportunity to be like, oh, I was kind of thinking that, but I wasn't really clear for myself. And so it has shifted. So my question to you is, where are you, or where have you been consciously or unconsciously placing your order for the life that you want to have? This is absolutely one of my favorite things to work with people on. There's so much good stuff and healing that occurs. And then the life that you get to create moving forward is amazing, because like I said, this is foundational stuff that changes and you create from a new place. And I get super excited. So I'm going to stop talking about that there. We're at our time here because I'll just keep going on and on about that. I hope this was super helpful for you guys. So to recap, right? We started with if you're looking for a relationship partner, that sort of thing, ideal partner list, relationship list. And the truth is those, even talking about our inner circle with our friends, those fit also. Like that relationship, like what kind of relationship do you want to have with your inner circle? What kind of relationship do you want to have with your animal? So, what kind of relationship do you want to have with your job or your business or anything that you're creating? These lists, like I said, first of all, underneath, they help us get to know ourselves even better and get really clear on what is that we want. And it's really cool when that stuff pops up and it's super surprising. Like you'll be writing and you'll be like, oh my God, I wrote that. I didn't even realize that was one of the things that I wanted in a partner or in a friend. Right. And then sometimes you're like, oh, I'm gonna have to hide the list, because you can share it with people if you want to or not. First and foremost, it's for you. So it's one of those places, like, be mindful if you are going to share it with people of who you're sharing it with, because this is your list. It's not a place to be judged. Never, like, right. You know how I get crazy about that. But we want to share it with, if you choose to share it, you want to share it with people who are going to be able to understand it, support you in it, and maybe even be inspired to create one for themselves. Okay. So that is all for tonight. These are our, how do we place our order with the universe? I hope it was super helpful for you. Hope you enjoyed yourself. I had a great time as always. Join me again next Monday. And if there are people that you want to share this with, the video podcast will be uploaded tonight, YouTube channel under Alicia Sweezer, podcast under Insights with Alicia. All of these links are in the event listing. Share it, like it, subscribe it, all of the things so that the info gets to more people. And as always, thank you to everyone who's donated to my cosmic tip jar. It allows me to practice receiving as well as to continue to be able to create free things like this that I can give to people. If anyone feels led to do so, links are in the event info. Okay. So also, if anything I talked about tonight makes you want to learn more, change some things, figure out how to do these lists, book a session, set up a call. Free discovery call. We'll see what we can do. And don't forget, right, this week, we have the drawing for a free session with me. So tell your friends, if you're already on my email list, I sent you guys an email today, share that with your friends. Like I said, thank you for your support. You're already entered into your own separate drawing. Otherwise, please tell people about it. They can sign up and they'll get entered in for the drawing with me. And I will be super excited. Okay. You guys have a great week. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for all the comments in the chat box. I appreciate that you guys thought that this was great stuff and that it resonated with you. And have a great week. I'll see you next Monday. Thanks, everyone. Bye.